You know, I got a call on me. Did you talk to her? No, I had. They have read, cut out what you say.
All right, we're going to call this meeting to order.
I make a motion adjourn.
Second.
Write that down.
Going to call this special meeting, the Hill County Commissioners Court of Order. This is May 29th, 2026, 8:30 a.m. in the Hill County Courtroom. We do have a quorum present. We'll go ahead and get started with a prayer. Do I have a pastor present? Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you today, Lord, humbly, Lord, with great weight. We pray that you guide this court and the decisions that it makes, Lord. You grant us wisdom, discernment, Lord. Lord, we pray for this county, Lord. We pray for our country, and we praise you. We thank you for the blessings that you continue to pour out upon us, and undeserved blessings. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
You'll follow us in the pledge. That allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Honor the text of my land. I pledge allegiance to the flag, one state under God, one indivisible.
Update stuff.
I think we're over table, open forums.
How are you today, Commissioner?
We're good.
Well,
Thank you, sir. Let's just get right to it.
well, I'm getting that place. Commissioner, how are you?
I'm good. I'm here.
Yeah.
We're still trying to repair some road, hauling some rock, and that new machine that we got a couple of weeks ago finally got the sensor replaced on it. So we'll get started back on 21-24 next week. We're doing some repair to 13-30, 13-13, 13-18, 13-20. Try to re-chip seal them this summer sometime.
Oh,
If I don't run out of money first.
understand. Commissioner?
Same as Tuesday, just hauling rock and finally got a few days of dry weather. We can make show a little progress.
Commissioner?
Still filling up thin spots, doing a little shredding.
How's the county clerk's office?
We're doing good.
There you go. Let's see, Sharon. Mr. Holmes, how are you?
Good morning.
Miss Susan, how are you? Auditor's office as well?
Yeah.
All right, well, from my office, obviously, we've been fairly busy recently. I do want to make an announcement in reference to our agenda. The last agenda on Tuesday, we did not go into executive session due to some concerns brought to the court in reference to the posting. At that time, this posting was already posted because we had to get it up in the timeline. So, and it was posted in the exact same manner. The question, I guess, posed to the court, or at least to myself, I posed to myself was, could the posting be more clear? And to me, it could be. So we decided to table that item. Well, this one's worded the exact same way due to the time constraints we had. So we will not be addressing 3, 4, or 5 in this commissioner's court. Those will all be tabled. I will be posting a new meeting that has much more clear language as to what is being considered in those items. That way the public has a little better idea as to what we're gonna be discussing. I think that's it from my office. We will go ahead and move on to open forum. I've got a list here for open forum. We're going to. Well, if you could limit your comments to 5 minutes, and be respectful of recorders, we respect you. Lauren,
That's me.
how do you pronounce the last name?
Do come in.
Okay, dude, man, that's exactly how it's spelled. Give me just a second to get a timer going. Go ahead.
Hello again. My name is Lauren Dukeman, and my family has been farming here for over 150 years. I live on a ranch 2 miles north of the proposed data center and NRG energy plant on the county line by FM 66. So first, thank you, Judge and Commissioners Holcomb and Crumpton, for your courage and voting yes on the temporary moratorium. I know there is significant pressure potentially pushing Hill County into rushing irreversible industrial development because of litigation threats. And I'm here again today to ask that you do not grant waivers to developers during this moratorium period unless the county is willing to seek outside counsel and exercise every area of oversight still available to protect residents and farmland. RCM Hill has invested 16 months and $1 million into their development, but we have invested our lives, our future, and our children's futures into these communities. Local government has a duty to consider both. So the risk of your decision seemed to be this: if this moratorium remains and the projects are later deemed safe, the county and developers may lose time and money. But if waivers are granted now and it turns out that the damage we all fear comes to pass, then hundreds of families stand to lose their land, their water, their well-being. AI is being heralded as the future, yet companies like OpenAI are posting billions of dollars in losses each year. They stand to lose money, but we stand to lose our future. So when a farm family goes out of business and another family moves in and takes over the farm, there's not much negative impact in the community. But when a data center fails, the corporation, they can walk away, leaving behind a community struggling to recover from damaged water resources, industrialized farmland, or declining property values. Data centers speak about the benefits they bring: job, tax revenue, and economic growth. But if developers truly believe these projects will benefit the community and justify converting agricultural land or clean water into industrial development, then they should support the county taking time to fully study the impacts and come to their own informed conclusion. If these developers care for the land as we do, it would only make sense to cooperate together so that this development is beneficial. Yes, I understand a temporary moratorium may be inconvenient or costly for the applicants. My own family experienced a 6-month delay before moving into our home. But we are not talking about a single resident applying for a septic permit. We are talking about thousands of acres of rural farmland next to homes and waterways shared with an entire region of Texas. The proposed development on 66 alone is larger than the incorporated cities of Grandview, Maple, and Itasca combined, and that's one. Based on available information, the proposed Maple data center will be twice the size of the Stargate AI data center in Abilene and consume more power than Meta's Altoona facility in Iowa. It would include approximately 24 two-story data center buildings totaling more than 8 million square feet, consuming roughly 2.5 gigawatts of electricity, along with a proposed 1.2 gigawatt gas power plant, 6 substations, and an on-site wastewater treatment plant. A development of this scale would effectively introduce an entirely new industrial city that probably employs almost no one, I might add, into this county. One would think that a company seeking to become part of this community would support proper studies, transparency, and reasonable safeguards before moving forward. You don't become a good member of this community by doing something that terrifies all of your neighbors. If this is safe, the residents should not have to struggle to obtain clear information about its scope, impacts, and long-term circumstances and consequences. These concerns of ours are not minor. What happens if there is a fire or contamination? How will this impact local wildlife, water, and agriculture? Can the damage from potential accidents even be reversed? So to the developers, our area is filled with hardworking, loyal, and welcoming people, and it would be unfortunate for this project to begin by seemingly disregarding the legitimate concerns of this residents who live here. If their projects can be done safely and responsibly, then they should welcome independent review, make their own studies publicly available, and ensure our county is ready for this before any waivers are considered. I respectfully ask again that you do not grant this waiver. If waivers are granted during the moratorium, then the moratorium loses its purpose. We risk approving development that could permanently and irreversibly change our community before proper safeguards are in place. I would like to end by asking this. We can all see the potential risks. What are the rewards that residents are being asked to accept those risks for?
Thank you, Nancy. Kathy Latham.
Good morning, how are y'all?
Good morning. Very
I'm Kathy Latham, I'm with Humans First. I just live right on the county line. I'm trying to be a good neighbor. I want to thank y'all for standing in the gap for your people. Thank you for being willing to take the time to look what's good for the community. Taking the time to make sure that people are taken care of. I'm praying for you. I know these people back here are praying for you. We've got your back, we've got your six. Thank you. That's what I want to spend my time right now. It's just saying thank you for taking the time, for making sure that what's being done is fair. There are no NDAs, nothing's a secret. We want full transparency. That's when decisions can be made, when everybody lays their cards on the table and we know what's going on. So I want to just say thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. Olivia Hopner. Hefner.
We brought handouts again.
Okay. All right, so I've given y'all a handout. The first page is the county commissioners, the county judge, and a woman named Nancy White. They are all in Van Zandt County. They were instrumental to implementing the Van Zandt County moratorium. I spoke to Nancy yesterday and she's at the forefront of this stuff. She's going down to Austin, dealing with a lot of these things. And as she put it, she said, I think they put the cart before the horse, even though well intended. I think we tried to take off a bigger piece instead of attacking the other stuff. Part of that is I know it sounds like the green energy stuff, but it starts with like the batteries and the phase that they're at, and that's where you have to start, instead of trying to go right from the top. So all the things that I said Tuesday, all the safety concerns, they still stand. Those are still concerns. And I know y'all have a lot to address on top of this, but those are still those should take precedent. I did get a public information request from the emergency management director here in Hunt County, and he was very kind. But a lot of the things I asked for don't exist. I've highlighted them all for you. It's pretty much the whole thing. I'll give you a couple of examples. General energy infrastructure emergency planning with these companies. There's no county plan to address solar or wind energy facilities, nor have any been shared with his office. It's present facility specific emergency response plan submitted by the best solar wind project operators. None exist to my knowledge. Present hazard mitigation analysis and related engineering reviews. None exist to my knowledge. And there's a big list there, things that don't exist. He was very honest. He said they are not prepared whatsoever as a county. I understand we're redoing those plans, but even then that's stuff that I understand that takes time, but you need equipment, you need all kinds of training for these firemen. And not only that, but the people are close. Like these are toxic fumes. It's windy where I am. There aren't evacuation plans for towns if that stuff gets out. And he was honest and he said they were not prepared. And he's trying to get these companies to cooperate, and they will not cooperate. So I'm asking you guys to use your authority that you have to ask these companies for these plans, for their training, for their engineering, all this stuff. That's what their money's for. Use it. They that's up to them. That's up to y'all. Real quick, as I'm probably gonna run out of time. Whether you pull this moratorium, whether you grant a waiver, I don't think it really matters, because I think we either have to fix this moratorium
Thank you. Another, Ms. Hopner? Ms. Hopner?
Put your paper down. Can you talk anything? Here.
This little close prayers. It's all going down the arrows and your.
This is, okay. We start.
Thank you. Ted Wheeling?
How you guys doing?
Doing well.
I'm Ted Weiland. To open, I'd like to thank each member of the primary governing body of Hill County, Texas, for calling for a special meeting and allowing us to attend and speak. I'd especially like to personally thank those of the members that voted yes to the 12-month moratorium approved last month, the beginning of the month. Although if all of the commissioners were indeed listening to the majority of their constituents, they too would have elected that they were elected by, they too would have voted, and it would have been a unanimous approval. Unfortunately, it was not. As a segue into my topic and points of concern, I'd like to briefly discuss some other historic rise and falls of our society. Asbestos was first used thousands of years ago as was considered a miracle material, the silk magic mineral world. It was prized for its incredible ability to resist fire, heat, chemical corrosion, and products like flame-resistant textiles, lamp wicks, and burial shrouds. In the 1800s, early 1900s, it was celebrated as a service to humanity and a wonderful material because it was so cheap, fireproof, and highly durable. Starting in the 1950s, medical and scientific studies started linking the asbestos to lung cancer, and by 1973, they had outlawed it to being used in any of the products. I personally believe that the explosion of lithium battery products and their uses will one day be added to this growing list of misconceived wonder materials and uses. In order to keep my main concerns as brief as possible today and focus on the immediate matter at which is probably considered right now to be too late by some of you, it would not be of any detail to talk about the current and provable harm by wind turbine and solar farms that are already causing irreversible ecological and environmental damage. The astronomical increase of power, water, light, noise, and sound created by these centers. The true purpose of what mega AI data centers are. The true comparisons and needs in the use versus the China's competition. The true meaning of what is a closed loop system. There are different types. We need to make sure we get the right nomenclature of what we're going to require them to put in. What and how to handle the required and unavoidable complete system waste disposal. Right now, they would put it into the ground and it is toxic. What, if any, benefit would be gained by the local community through temporary and permanent staffing? None. What if any guarantee county can provide to the residents that their infrastructure usage and rates nor proper taxes would be raised by 1 penny by any way by the development of AI mega data center, that they would be held accountable to foot every single bill that has caused an increase in the services or requirements. I will not try to further enhance, delve deeper, or repeat any that is already and still needs to be investigated, studied, or is in need of being outlined in contracts, requirements, or restrictions for these mega AI data centers to agree to and comply with prior to breaking the 1 shovel of ground on these projects in Hill County. All of these concerns and actions were to be thoroughly completed during the already approved moratorium that is under attack. I will discuss today 2 major financial and logistical environmental issues that I have not really heard talked about, but I think they need to really be talked about. Nor have they been covered by any of the multiple countywide media coverage or any of the online streaming platforms. But these are the 2 major items that will have critical and unavoidable environmental and financial impacts to us directly and can be quantified upfront. First item would be the proper fire prevention. My parents taught me to pray for the best, but don't be a fool and not prepare for the worst. Currently, there are 18 fire departments in Hill County, Texas, of which I believe 16 are staffed and operated 100% volunteer firemen. In the state of Texas, there's 2,332. Specifically in Hill County, I do not know the number that are currently equipped with the equipment, training, and staffing of personnel that would be required to fight a mega data center fire. Current projections are showing initial retrofit and startup costs and possibly in excess would be $10 million per station. With an increase in the annual operation costs of up to $2 million per year, they would have to hire a portion of their fire personnel to be full-time fire departments, bringing them to a 24/7 fire station and not 100% volunteer. On the basis of my assumption is that no fire departments in Hill County are presently equipped or staffed with this requirement. The cost would be $180 million just for the startup and $36 million in additional annual cost to the county. If you're thinking that the only fire departments that would need to be upgraded are the immediate town area where the centers are located, you'd be 100% wrong. All of the fire departments have, and usually although unwritten, they have an agreement to support their neighboring stations in case of major fires. So all county and adjoining fire departments would need to be upgraded even for 1 station. As in the case of the center being currently built in Laguna Park, located in Boston County. Their fire department is co-support.
I believe that Tim Whelan has conceded.
Yes, he has. Thank you. I will try and get it done in this time. Their fire department is co-supported by Clifton and Whitney. The latter, which is located in Hill County, would need to be upgraded at our expense, not theirs. At present, in the 3 local that are surrounding me, which is the immediate data center that was thought to be proposed over on Route 67 of M67, none of the 3 are equipped to even handle an EV car battery fire. They must let it burn out. They cannot fight those fires. This is a data center fire. So, catastrophic fire in a mega data center releases a highly toxic corrosive plume of smoke. The exact chemical cocktails depend on the facility's specific infrastructure, not burning hardware, but burning hardware and cooling systems primarily emit hydrogen, fluoride, carbon monoxide, nitric oxides, and polyprolylic aromatic hydrocarbons. Further information is available online regarding these battery storage systems, the server rack and electric hardware systems, the cooling systems, the fire suppression systems, backup generators, which could also burn in these type of fires. A data center toxic smoke and particulars plume can reach as heights of 1,000 to 2,000 feet in the air, and depending on wind speeds and the direction, they would blow for miles. This is an ultimate definition of not a good neighbor. And I would not be a good neighbor if I prayed for the wind to blow north from my house. Okay, because I'm adjoining the land that is being proposed in Bedlam. So in closing, I want to impress upon the Commissioner's Court to double down and give unanimous approval to the 1-year moratorium, quickly select and appoint a county council to start investigation into items and areas that need to be studied, and regarding the consultants and costs that need to be brought in to properly educate and outline the requirement of and escrow items and amounts that must be placed into escrow before, not after. I'd also ask the county attorney to draft some form of an ironclad written agreement presented to any developer, corporation, or LLC to sign, requesting a waiver that he would comply with any and all directives, including escrow costs, to prevent the grading prior to even grading the land for an approval of a data center. With the advantage that they will be increased in escrow as needed. I rather doubt that that the county attorney can guarantee that such a document can be prepared, or would prevent these zealous attorneys representing these corporations not to try and loophole themselves and threaten further lawsuits to make you guys back down on any of the things that you come up during the moratorium if you've already allowed them to start. Basically, money and requirements need to be up front. The horse always needs to pull the cart, not the cart pulling the horse. So I would also respectfully request the county attorney explore all avenues to countersuit this lawsuit threat on the basis that it appears to be treasonous extortion. By threatening a decision made by a primary governing body of Hill County, that would only delay, not prohibit the mega data centers in Hill County. Their actions are proof positive that their intentions do not allow Hill County to perform critical studies, and they don't want these studies to be performed and cost projections to be into their contracts before they start the work, and then claim that they were grandfathered and not these costs and requirements do not apply to them. Also, the method of their issuance of the letters of threat to sue personal individual members in lieu of the county board as a whole shows that they're definitely carpetbagger intention and not true neighbors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Tiffany Williams?
Morning. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Tiffany Williams. I've lived in Hill County since 2008. I'm standing before you today not as a taxpayer, but as someone who has spent nearly 2 decades watching our community grow, supporting our local economy and cherishing the quiet rural character that makes Hill County the place that it is to live. We're facing a defining moment, a massive developer that has filed this horrific lawsuit against our county. So let's call it what it is, a corporate scare tactic. It's a multi-million-dollar attempt to bully a rural Texas county into submission before the citizens even understand the full scope of what is hitting us. I'm here today to also thank y'all. Thank you for having the political courage to enact the 1-year moratorium on data centers in our incorporated lands. You saw a regulatory vacuum and you did your duty to protect your citizens. Please do not let this multi-million-dollar threat back you down from doing the right thing. When I moved here in 2008, I did so because Hill County values its land, its water, and its people. A 300-acre data center campus completely contradicts those values. There's also the issue of water, that we rely on the Trinity Aquifer. If these mega facilities drain millions of gallons of our groundwater a day to cool their servers, our agriculture community suffers. Our wells run dry. And property values plummet. A 1-year pause isn't anti-business, it's a matter of basic survival for our community. Secondly, these facilities bring high voltage infrastructure and massive lithium ion battery storage into our unincorporated areas. If there is an industrial or chemical fire, that burden falls squarely on our volunteer fire departments. Our brave volunteers are equipped for brush fires and structural fires, not large-scale industrial disasters, forcing this risk onto our county without strict infrastructure and emergency studies is reckless. Finally, they promise us economic benefits, but the reality is they create very few permanent local jobs once they're built. Instead, they place an immense strain on ERCOT and our local grid, which drives up utility rates and for the everyday homeowners and small businesses who have been paying taxes here for decades. We have a right to establish common sense rules in Hill County so that Hill County doesn't get steamrolled by big tech. I've been proud to call Hillsborough home, and I want to be proud of how we protect it in 2026. So please stand firm. I, as a citizen, will stand with whoever with the coalitions to help y'all and to back y'all up in any way that I can. Because it just seems like the number of data centers that are coming in at the rate that they're coming in, that there's just a a cloud of darkness around it. What is this really going to be used for in the future? And I just, it's very scary to me to see everything that's going around. The fact that that I live out in the county, out off of 3110. And then one day we see a windmill pop up. I had no idea. I had no idea this was coming in. No one did. Everyone's shocked. You know, so I beg of y'all to not let this corporate giant come in and scare you into something. We will stand with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ashley Merrill,
She passed her time to me, she said no.
Jack Merrill. What's your name, sir?
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Morning, guys. So we meet again. I would just like to read y'all a letter from some folks that want to praise those of you that voted for this moratorium. I want to say something that if you look in history, the people that came before us, if they got anything done, they had to stand up for what was right, not what was easy, and they gave themselves to do what was right. And thank y'all for doing that. The thing of it is you guys are in a different era than there was 200 years ago or what have you here in Texas. And you're not having to stand up with guns right now or anything like that to defend your constituents, your county, and the people like that. And I want to praise you for at least trying to make a pause in this so that you can make good decisions. And with that, I have a letter here from quite a few concerned people that are praising what you have done. And it says, to the Honorable Hill County Commissioners Court, I want to express my appreciation and support for the court's decision to issue a moratorium regarding large-scale development projects currently being considered within Hill County. The decision to pause and carefully evaluate these projects was responsible and reasonable and necessary. It demonstrated leadership and recognition. The projects of this magnitude deserve serious review before irreversible decisions are made. The county has only recently begun this process. In just 2 weeks, there has not been sufficient time to fully study the potential impacts involving infrastructure, roads, groundwater, drainage, and all the things that go with that, environmental concerns, land use, compatibility, and long-term taxpayer liability. A moratorium serves as an important purpose. It gives the county time to go gather facts, hear from the citizens, consult experts, and determine what protections and standards may be needed moving forward. If variances are granted before that process is complete, the intent of the moratorium is weakened. And the public confidence in this process is undermined. Standing firm during this review period is not anti-growth or anti-business. It is pro-accountability, pro-planning, and pro-responsible government. These purpose projects are not ordinary developments. Many involve industrial scale operations with impacts that could affect Hill County for decades. Once approvals are granted and construction begins, the county may lose much of its ability to negotiate safeguards or address unforeseen consequences. Residents deserve transparency, fairness, and a complete evaluation before expectations are made. The county also deserves adequate time to determine what legal authorities, protections, agreements, and conditions are necessary to protect taxpayers, rural landowners, infrastructure, and future generations. I respectfully encourage the court to remain consistent with the purpose of the moratorium and allow full review process to occur before considering any variances or exemptions. Thank you, Hill County, for your service. I have letters for all of y'all there. Some of them are signed if y'all want to read that. And know that you have a bunch of people back here that support you now. Everybody was here voicing their concerns and why not, no data centers, we don't want them, and all those things. And everybody's ready to fight. But actually, we're here now to support you and give you what we can, help you figure out what to do and to create restrictions for these guys. Because I'll just be honest with you, all these farmers and ranchers back here, we live and operate on our properties. Our our businesses happen on our property where we live. I bet you can't get one of these guys to put a first-class construction home, and I don't mean a bunker, that we live in right beside this where they're gonna develop these things. They're not gonna live beside there. They're not gonna take the fire damage or any of those things, the chemicals that come out of there. They're not gonna be there for that. They want the quick money and run. Do what is right, not what is easy. Easy money comes a lot of problems, and that's what you guys are facing right now. But we appreciate the time that y'all are spending to try to curb that and make good decisions that you can't even understand or fathom the amount of impact it's gonna have 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You guys understand that. That's why this is so important for what y'all are doing. So I'm just gonna move on to. Do I have another?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's don't act on this. Let's table this for a minute and give y'all even further pause. Core position, the county adopted a moratorium for a reason. To pause major development activity while the county evaluates impacts, legal authority, infrastructure, capacity, the public protection. You know, that's another thing that I gotta stop and say, and this is not what this is about today, but RCM hitting you guys with $100 million lawsuit. They haven't even started on anything, and those guys don't even own any land in this county to begin with. That is a scare tactic. Thanks for standing up to that and not rolling over. And you're gonna have to figure this out and have time, but that's what you guys are here for. And we're all in support of what y'all are doing. So primary arguments against granting the variance. The moratorium was passed because the county recognized the serious concerns. The commissioner's court already determined that immediate pause and study were necessary, hands down. A variance this early signals that the county is not serious about the own findings. You know, we know that y'all haven't had time to do that. So if you give them a variance now, that just weakens and waters it down. If conditions justified a moratorium 2 weeks ago, those conditions still exist today and stand. The county has not completed any meaningful review yet. We understand that it's ongoing, but there's been no comprehensive infrastructure analysis that has been completed, no groundwater study that has been completed, no road impact assessment has been completed, no emergency service review has been completed, no environmental or drainage review has been completed. No public process meaningful occurred yet. And here's the thing. The county cannot responsibly grant exceptions before the county even understands the problem and it pauses it for study. Granting a variance creates a precedence for every other developer. You know, again, those guys talk about coming in here and being good neighbors and all this stuff, but they're really not. They're after the money. They're trying to get it passed, and they found loopholes, and they're trying to get past us, y'all, before it's too late, because all they're here is for money. For them to hit y'all with that big of a lawsuit, that just lets you know what their intent is. It's only about money. They don't care about the people around. So we can already understand that for all of these things that need to happen before they develop, they don't care. They just proved it by attacking all of y'all. That being said, let's move on a little bit if I got time. If one project gets an exception, every future applicant will demand equal treatment. The moratorium becomes effectively meaningless. The county loses leverage to negotiate protections later. It undermines public trust. Citizens participated believing the moratorium meant an actual pause. Granting a variance almost immediately appears predetermined or preferential. Public confidence in the county government is damaged when rules are waived before review begins. Honestly, this should be at a state level. They should have already done their homework and empowered y'all to make these decisions so that you can protect us, because that's what you're here for. Let's see. The county needs time to determine legal authority and conditions. the county still needs time to evaluate road use agreements, noise standards, water usage limits, fire suppression requirements, backup generator restrictions, tax abatements, and pilot structures. Setbacks and buffering and emergency management impacts, decommissioning obligations. That's a big one right there. I'm gonna tell you something. If we believe God created this earth, what the natural earth is, and we want to come in there and put data centers and stuff like that, and you can already go to Laguna Park and see, because I used to live, they're almost to where I used to live, and they bought up and tore up everything from there that was productive land. You can't scrape that thing down to the rock bottom and put chemicals and have all those things that damage the land and think that you're going to come in there and reclaim and turn that back to what it was and become productive after it's over with. I'm looking at a mile from my house. I'll listen to them for months, drive I-beam in the ground, pylons 4, 5, 6 foot deep. I'm going to tell you, they'll never reclaim that. They can only cut them off. I don't think they'll ever pull them out of that rock. So that means everything that they put in the ground is going to stay there, even if they decommission that thing. There's no way to do that unless they go down there and they, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Large AI hyperscale projects are unique and long-term. Massive electrical demand, heavy truck traffic, 24/7 industrial operations out there in the country. Large diesel generators. I saw a deal this morning. It was talking about how many of these diesel generators are running. You know, it's different than one tractor every few months that plows under, or, you know, they go get crops out of the ground, but multiple generators over generators over generators. And we just turned our county into an industrial wasteland of diesel smoke and all these things. So, water consumption concerns. I'm going to tell y'all something. There ain't a study that will ever be done that will suffice me to tell me that they're not going to take the water that we need. It won't happen. You can't find a study that is many millions of gallons. I looked at another study where there was one of those data centers that figured out, because there's so much industrial construction going on within these when they're doing them, they tapped into a water line and they stole millions of gallons of water. They do not care. Anything that they tell you, I believe, is a lie. Permanent rural land transformation. That's what I was just talking about. Let's keep going. The county has not studied financial risk to taxpayers. That's going to be a tough one, figuring out how the taxes are raised, the water, electric, and changing the taxes for the property taxes and things like that for what it will create. Question still unanswered. Who pays for the road damage? Who pays for the emergency response upgrade? Who pays for the water infrastructure stress? I'm going to tell you something. Water infrastructure stress is one thing, but there's not going to be any water to worry about stressing those pipes out. If they take all the water, there's none left for wildlife and human consumption whatsoever. And then if they change out these closed systems, they got to put it somewhere, and then it damages that water to not be used ever again. There's no reverse osmosis. It's going to take out the PCBs and all those things that are created from plastics and electrical equipment and stuff like that in that water. It's done. It's not going to be reused. There is no emergency requiring immediate approval. The developer can wait during the review process. A temporary delay does not prevent future development. The county's obligation is to protect residents first. That's it. Convenience for a developer is not a public emergency. Rural residents have had insufficient notice and input. And that's what we're working on here today. So again, I praise y'all for the pause. It may have created legal action. So be it. That's what this is for. That's what courts are for, to decide who's liable, who's legal, what there is. Let's see, adjacent landowners may still not fully understand the project impacts. More public meetings and hearings are needed. Citizens deserve time to gather facts and consult experts. Granting a variance before standards exist removes negotiation and power of not just y'all, but us. Yeah, there was an overwhelming amount of people that voiced their concerns, and justifiably. Counties lose leverage quickly. developers gain vested expectations, political pressure increases, future protections become harder to impose. The county should establish rules first and then consider the projects later. Strong process-based arguments, these are often most effective because they avoid appearing anti-business. Process integrity argument. Let's see. The issue today is not whether the project is good or bad. The issue is whether the county will honor the process that it just adopted. Fairness. Every property owner and future applicant deserves the same rules and the same timeline. Selective expectations defeat the purpose of a moratorium. All the incomplete information. No response governing body should grant expectations before the county has completed its own fact finding. Let's see, what specific hardship justifies a variance only 2 weeks in the moratorium? And that's for you guys. What studies have already been completed? What changed since the moratorium passed? Why should a developer receive a special treatment? What object criteria are being used? Will all applicants receive the same treatment? Has the county quantified road damage costs? Has it ERCOT? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. What's the name? Go ahead.
I hope this is just not me standing up here talking. I hope these are things and items that we can hand you guys and that you can take into your chambers and your meetings and understanding and move into something that is monumental. I'm going to tell you something. The moratorium that was passed sent shockwaves across the state of Texas. The nation. And there's reason for it. There's absolute reason for it. All of these questions right here, this is so detailed. And I said this the other day when we were here. It's like there's so many variables and things that are not understood yet. You can't make a decision. And I applaud you if you pause again. If you're able to table this and move forward and allow due process to work through itself. And the personal attacks on you guys is ridiculous. And that defines it right there. They're trying to get past you guys in every little county and little town that doesn't have all these things in place. That's why they're seeking us. They think we're weak and they think that they can just go make $1 million and sell the place. Those guys are not. Again, they're not standing up for Hill County. They're not standing up for the state of Texas. They're not standing up for farmers and ranchers, and they don't want to be good neighbors. I'm going to say it again. If they're personally attacking y'all with lawsuits and things, it's not about what you did wrong. It's about trying to put their thumb onto you and make you make a different decision and roll over. None of us are going to roll over. We're standing right here. And if they're going to have to come through those doors over there, guns a-blazing, and we're all standing here for them. And we're standing here for y'all. So stand up, do what's right, and keep going. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Jack.
Tim Linus?
Got it. We won't go. First of all, I want to start off, I want to thank y'all. What y'all did 2 weeks ago was commendable. I know it's tough, may not hold up. And that's just the way the ball bounces, but there's work to be done. There's good work to be done. And I'm here today to talk to y'all. There are rules and statutes and laws that are in place right now for you to control this process, okay? And I'm asking you to do your work, And I understand there's outside pressures.
I couldn't imagine being sued for $100 million from some carpetbagger that doesn't even own land in our county. It's BS. That's all it is. Unfortunately, I thought we would have a full year, maybe a few months before this deteriorated. We don't. We probably have days. We all recognize that. But the county is not helpless. You're not helpless. There's lots to do and little time to do it in. Again, I'm gonna say this a lot through this my minutes. Use your authority that you have right now, granted to you by the state laws that are in place. The data centers rush, and Jack alluded to it, their rush to get this done is not our concern, not your concern. The big number is, the lawsuit number, again, overwhelming. Well, we got to get past that and get this stuff in place. And some of it's already in place. You don't have to do anything but just go over to your development office and stand behind the statutes that are in place right now. And we'll get to those because I have lots more. Because I know the plating statute that everybody refers to, 232, is not the strongest plat or not the strongest rule, but there are legs inside that. Also, this moratorium waiver request is the perfect time to negotiate. They're coming here for a waiver. There should be negotiations, not just a blank waiver. There should absolutely be serious conversations with these data centers, and I believe they're going to be, and there have been. And that's what the process should be, is a back and forth, because as much as I would love to say these things are never going to be here, they're probably going to be here. They're already here in places, but we can absolutely slow it down. So, I believe this is going to get tabled at the end of this meeting. And that is the time for us to continue to get our house in order. So first off, I'm gonna say this and we'll come back to it again, because I know that the attorney is concerned about it as well as everybody else. The very first thing that can be negotiated is an escrow. They need to put their money in an account for you to fund the supervision and the administration of what they want to bring you. You don't have the expertise in-house here. We all know that. But you can use the escrow money to hire, and you're gonna like this one, outside counsel. You need it. You can use it with the escrow money. I know that you're one guy here trying to take on all these, BlackRock or whoever else out there. But you can use that escrow money. You can put it in negotiation. That we will use outside counsel, outside engineers, outside third-party review. You just have to do it, and you can do it. You don't even have to ask to do it. You can just do it. So before I get into that a little more, I want to talk about, because there was comment last time, and rightly so, although I like the Davy Crockett method, just rolling in there and fighting until you're not there anymore. But you want to do it the right way. I heard that from you. And everybody wants to do it. We have to do it the right way. The moratorium has very skinny legs and they're not strong. But let's move into this. And I'm going to go back to the county planning, chapter 232 rule. And it starts with divided land. The problem is it doesn't end there. That statute, as you work your way down through it, at the very last sentence says other for a reason. And any of you that are our lawyers, have worked with lawyers, been around lawyers, they love that terminology and they can use it. Okay.
What's your name,
Got
man?
a new name.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you may, and I'm gonna touch on it, you may adopt plat application requirements. You can do engineering studies. You can do structure review procedures. You can demand drainage studies, road standards, utility review process. These implement standards counties commonly require escrow deposits before you even start. Reimbursement agreements for the cost. We should not bear one penny for any of this. outside engineering reviews, other consultants review costs, legal consultants. This is already done in Texas counties across the entire state. The argument is the county has the authority to require technical review. It is necessarily has been implied an implied authority to recover the reasonable cost for that review. If I made myself clear, you have the implied authority to recover your cost. That is your advantage. A county can potentially require developers to fund the independent review of hydrology studies, floodplain modeling, traffic impact, bridge loads, groundwater availability, fire flow calculations, emergency response plans, noise studies, electrical coordination studies, road damage, especially where the county staff lacks expertise. You're not required by the state to use your staff to go up against these guys. I would highly recommend you don't. There are consultants all across this country that specialize in this. Use them. Now I'm gonna get into the other. I'm getting past 232. Counties have a broad authority over county roads. The Texas Transportation Code 251.003 specifically supports road use agreements, road damage agreements, engineering reviews, haul route analysis, bridge studies. Counties often require developers to pay those engineering consultants for those analysis. And then they bring them to you, and then you use your third party paid out of the escrow account to review them. And it's where it goes back and forth. This becomes highly defensible in a hyperscale data center because transformer deliveries, generators being delivered, cooling equipment, these are heavy loads, concrete truck, constant construction traffic that can heavily impact the county roads. Next code, the Texas Water Code 16.315. That's your floodplain authority. And I have this, I'm gonna leave this for y'all. Floodplain administration often requires specialized engineering reviews. Counties already require applicants to pay for hydraulic engineering review studies, FEMA compliance, drainage modeling review. Again, this you don't even have to review nothing until they put the escrow money down, because you are not required to pay for their stuff. So, but you can do it today. You don't even have to pass. Hey, we got to vote on this in 3 weeks. Texas Water Code 16.315 is in place today to use. Some important limitations. You cannot generally just say, pay us whatever we want. The fees have to be tied to actual review costs, reasonable, documented, connected to authorized regulatory process, uniformly provided. Otherwise, the county will risk claims, lawsuits of unauthorized tax, exceeding your statutory authorities, fees that are arbitrary or not you can't back them up. So again, you ask for the escrow, you hire the consultant to do this fee analysis for you. You just have to do it. These guys, and I'll get to how you get them to the table, but you get them to the table with these codes. You see anybody out there, anybody sees any kind of data center needs to report it to the county needs to drive out there, and we'll get to this, the checklist. You just hand it to them. The laws are in place. They have to come talk to you. You're already working on it, and I commend you. The Texas Fire Code is a good tool. The NFPA 1, the NFPA 101 is there for your use. Again, I'll get into the structures that counties often use to handle these processes, a reimbursement agreement, and get an outside counsel to draw it up. I think that's money well spent on that document. Escrow development, you don't do anything till the money hits the bank account. You don't have to. They can't do anything till they pay you. Professional service agreement. Somebody give me your.
What's your name, sir?
Wayne Moody.
Go ahead.
Professional service agreement. County hires an engineer. Please do that. Hire an outside civil engineer with the money they give you for the escrow. So we stay in the black, not in the gray areas, and do it right. Do it right. You can do that today, or you can do it once you get the escrow money. Or you could choose to hire, get them signed up for, go ahead and vet them out, have them on ready to come. They're coming. Application fees. The escrow reimbursement model is your strongest legal defendable position for this kind of thing. It's used across the state. Okay. The strong legal policy arguments. A county can reasonably argue taxpayers should not subsidize for specialized engineering infrastructure review required solely because of a private industrial development. This is very common rationale. Especially, I mean, we're not talking about someone coming in here that puts a house in. You guys can handle the driveway going in, you know, no issue. We have thousands of those in the county. But an AI center, crypto mining, utility scale energy projects, industrial campuses, you can absolutely strong legal defense to do that. Strongest area for third-party review recovery. These are probably the safest legal areas. Goes back to drainage and floodplain engineering, very strong authority to ask for that. Road and bridge impact review, very strong authority to ask for that review. Plat engineering review, you guys can discuss that further. But seek outside counsel and get their opinion of it. We already discussed, I'm not a lawyer, you're not a lawyer, you are. But I understand why you'd want to put legal minds together and review it. Utility coordination reviews with other entities, moderately strong to do that. The emergency response fire protection studies, adapting to the state fire codes is very important, and you're working on that, and I commend you for that. Very important. Water availability review, it's moderately something you can do, but thankful in our county, the Prairie Land Water District's already in place. We have very strong teeth with that. You know, the noise, light, and let's all face it, noise, light, environmental peer review, these are legally weaker than the other things. Unfortunately, I hate it, but during the checklist negotiations, the very important piece is to have them have more than the 200 acres some of them want to use. You know, Hubbard is I applaud Hubbard. They've got 3,000 to 4,000 acres to set this thing on. They need a 2-mile radius around these plants. And guys, if they're thinking they lost $100 million, do you think buying 3,000 acres is going to kill them? No. They don't want to buy that because they don't care about the people next to them. But they should buy that much land to protect their neighbors. We want to be right up against the noise and the vibration, the heat domes that it does. Okay. Counties generally have review costs versus impact fees. Counties generally have limited authority to just impose a broad impact fee. So we probably should avoid that language. You know, the safest position is the county is not charging for permission to operate a data center. The county is recovering reasonable professional review costs necessarily to evaluate the infrastructure, the drainage, the roadways, the floodplain, public safety impacts under the existing statutory authority that's in place today. That framing is defensible by Texas law. Now, we'll leave that right there. That's those statutes. This is I think the thing that's probably most important because it's coming. If you'll use it, the county public works office needs to get itself in order. I'm asking y'all to do that. I provided a checklist, an extensive checklist that you can hand these guys. And what I got back from some of the conversation is, gosh, that's a lot.
Very right.
Who cares? Have you tried to get a permit in Plano or Dallas, Frisco? We don't have a big enough checklist, in my opinion. And you know, you can go down through there, hand this to anybody that walks in, and if the people are smart, they can go through there. The ones that it doesn't apply to, they just put NA all the way in. Okay, somebody.
Charles Alex Whitfield, they just woke up and said they.
Okay. So this is something that that you need to get your development public works office in order today. I don't think you need to have any, I don't know, have to talk to your attorney. I don't know that you really need to ask anybody to put a builder's checklist in your development office. Do you? Do you have to ask some, you have to go get a public hearing to develop a checklist to have a policy to run your office? I don't think so. So that there's no reason why this shouldn't be printed off today, even if it's not perfect, y'all. Print it off, put Hill County at the top of this thing and stick it over in your office over there. And some people will argue, well, I don't know if we have authority to do that. This is a mindset that everybody in this room, I'm asking you to get past. We are not here to defend for the other side. You know, we're gonna do some things and we're gonna get kicked in the knees. We are. But I prefer to get kicked in the knees than to sit there and let them just run by us. This checklist is extensive for a reason, and it's easy to do. It's just called simply a industrial developer submittal package. Leave it on the counter over there. Put a QR code on it. Anything. So in that, there's the initial development application package, and it lists all what's going on there. I'm not going to read it all because it's extensive. But the name, who you're dealing with, they need to tell you who they are. It needs to be public record. Submit when they submit one. This would tell us what the people are talking about transparency. This will establish that. Site mapping. They got to have those. FEMA's your best friend. I wouldn't water this thing down at all. All the water, wetlands, drainage maps, pipeline maps, railroad maps, anything associated with the land or what's on the property. Land use development review. This county, and they can use the escrow money to do this, they need to hire somebody to review what they submit. So they bring all this stuff. They're gonna bring you stuff, it's gonna be a box this big. It will be, maybe a truckload if you ask for it. You need to just leave it there boxed up and call your engineer. He'll come pick that up and he'll bill you to look all the way through it. Pay him out of the escrow account, which is what it's for. No burden to anybody other than let's cross paths here. You can cover the cost. You can cover your costs for your people to handle the transaction. And you have, when you hire the outside consultants, which you're going to have to hire, you'll have confidence in what they're telling you instead of me up here. I'm not an engineer, but I've had to deal with this stuff my entire career. And this is the way it's done. Okay? And speedy process is not a requirement. I mean, we don't want to just sit there and say, we'll get back to you in 3 months, which I'd love you to do, but you can't. You don't want to do that. But reasonable time to review these documents. I mean, the county attorney will agree with this one. Do you ever get a quick response from a lawyer ever? No, it's 2 to 3 weeks, maybe months, and then there's a request. What you get is a request for an extension of time. Okay, I would love to have you do that, but probably not going to go that far. But your development office can do this today. Water supply requirements, hydrology studies, the wastewater requirements, wastewater disposal plans, state permits, stormwater permits that go on and on, electrical infrastructure, power reviews, air quality emissions, noise impact requirements. And under each one of these are 10 items that they have to do. Light pollution requirements, environmental ecological studies, federal environment review, biological studies, U.S. Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, EPA, wetlands and waters, hazardous materials. My gosh, I think that's one of the biggest things that we're not that we got to get our handle on. Our fire departments in this county are not qualified to take care of this. And if you don't do anything and you say, well, that's too much, don't leave that one out because you're putting people at risk. You're putting the people at risk by not doing the fire code. Hill County is not gonna be the county that a lot of y'all grew up in or here. I grew up in Johnson County. Johnson County, when I was 20 years old, was the equivalent of Hill County. Okay, I've owned a ranch in Hill County for about 15 years. Johnson County, you guys know what it is. It's an extension of Fort Worth. That's what this is coming here. We cannot, the government, the county government, city government, you cannot put your head in the sand. You must have a checklist in place when people come here to talk to you. Okay? It is your duty to do it. And it's not a gray area. It's not about we won't do it right. I'm not picking on you, but we can't use that. This checklist is very important and it can go to your development. I'm asking you to give it to your development guys today if you haven't already done it. Don't spend, there's no reason to spend much more than letting the attorney look over and say, yeah, it looks good to me, because that's all. Let them tell you it's not good. You know, we sit here and spend 2 months on a checklist. This ain't gonna stop. This is not gonna stop. There are gonna be more of them here next week. So those are the things that you can do right now. Put the county checklist in place at your development office. There's going to be talk here about a proclamation that we're suggesting with all the statutes associated with it. And I'm going to say this about this what's getting ready to be read up here in a little bit. It's very impressive. It needs to be put on a billboard at the county lines. I'm serious. It's a heart attack. The reason they don't come talk to y'all is because we hadn't told them you need to. You know, we're trying to act like Hill County that we all would love to stay in this spot, but it's not that way anymore. There needs to be a notification, and legally by doing a proclamation, you get it out there, put it in the paper, put it in the Waco paper, Dallas Fort Worth papers, put it on a billboard. I'll help fund those billboards. Data centers, come here. This is our statutes that we follow. We follow these 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them statutes. State law said these are our statutes. So come see us at the development office if you want to talk in Hill County. That's all you got to do. I know it seems kind of simple when I say it's all you got to do, but it truly is that simple. The checklist should be given to the development office by the end of the day. There's just no reason why y'all shouldn't do that. And when people come to town, they know what they have to do. And they may come in and say, well, that's not backed up by law. That's where the negotiations start. Fact is, we're not having negotiations at all because, you know, we haven't told them they need to do anything. We haven't enforced the laws that are given to us to fight this. I know that we're an extension of the state, and they're not going to help us as much as I had a meeting with Angela Orr the other day right here in the county courthouse. Very nice lady, great rep. She's not selling her land to a data center, so that rumor needs to just go away. Saying that on public record, that's not happening. But the state doesn't even get back in legislative work till next summer. They are not coming to our defense enacting laws tomorrow for Hill County. It's not happening, y'all. So we have to use the tools that we have today, and you have them. And I'll end with this. I'm going to be very respectful, but I'm going to be firm. In those laws, there's words used like will, shall, must. It's not. You don't have the discretion as elected officials to go, I don't know. When it says the county shall do these things, there's no ambiguity. There you go. I'm an Aggie. I get a lifetime excuse. Giggle. There's no wiggle room there. You are required to follow the law. You want to get into gray areas, that's fine. I like that. I like pushing the envelope because you have to in these kind of situations. Because I guarantee you, these guys, they don't play by rules. They do not play by rules. They never will. That's why we have to have our rules. And I appreciate your time. I don't need any more time. I'm behind you. Thank you.
Stuart Martin. Oh,
Good morning.
good morning.
I want to thank everybody that's here today, especially the court, commissioners and judge. For this opportunity to talk about this issue that's been placed before us. As Tim has pointed out just now, the importance of the checklist. And what to me that does is gives you that discovery of what their intentions are so that you have a better capability to determine what your authorities are to respond to that. If you don't have the checklist to bring that information to you, they're not just going to volunteer it. But if you get that information, that discovery about the project, then you can make informed decisions on platting, forced platting, if you get the information about how they're going to divide land, what they're going to do, are easements required, things of that nature that would give you that platting authority. So I just want to strongly encourage that pathway gets followed. As Tim mentioned, we think that going forward with a resolution from this committee, from this court, would be a powerful tool to get out into the public what our intentions are in response to large infrastructure projects in the county. It should be focused on the best interest of Hill County, not focused to deny development, just to make sure that development is responsible and in the best interest of everybody. So with that, I'd like to kind of go over some of the points of what this proposed resolution might be written to do. Establish consistency, notify our developers early that this is our intention to review. Support future enforcement, create a public record, justify infrastructure review, and demonstrate that the county is acting under existing statutes rather than inventing new powers. A title might be something like a resolution regarding infrastructure protection and development coordination for large-scale industrial projects. And if you'll allow me, I'd like to read a draft that we would like you to consider. A resolution of the Commissioners Court of Hill County, Texas, regarding county infrastructure protection, development, coordination, and compliance with applicable Texas law for large-scale development projects. Whereas the County Court of Hill County, Texas, has statutory duties under the laws of the state of Texas to protect and maintain county infrastructure, roads, bridges, drainage systems, floodplain management systems, and public safety. And whereas the Commissioners Court recognizes the increasing development of large-scale industrial and technology-related facilities, including data centers and associated utility infrastructure within unincorporated areas of the county. And whereas the county commissioners desire to ensure that all development occurring within unincorporated areas of Hill County comply with all the applicable state laws, county regulations, engineering standards, and public infrastructure protection requirements. And whereas Texas Transportation Code 251.016 authorizes the Commissioners Court to exercise general control over county roads, highways and bridges. And whereas Transportation Code 251.003 authorizes the commissioners to make and enforce necessary rules and orders for the construction and maintenance of public roads. And whereas Texas Transportation Code 254.005 and 254.006 authorize and require the county to address drainage, culverts, natural water flow, and roadway flooding protection associated with the county
Go ahead.
roads and. Right.
What's your name? Robert.
I'm almost,
Chris, go ahead.
almost finished. And whereas Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 232 authorizes the county to regulate plats, subdivisions, roadway standards, drainage infrastructure, utility coordination, and related infrastructure matters within the county's lawful jurisdiction. And whereas Hill County participates in floodplain management and floodplain infrastructure responsibilities associated with the state and federal requirements, including applicable FEMA and National Flood Insurance Program standards. And whereas the Commissioners Court recognizes its obligations to protect infrastructure, emergency access routes, roadway safety, drainage systems, and the health, safety, and welfare of county residents. Therefore, be it resolved that all large-scale industrial development projects proposed within the unincorporated areas of Hill County shall comply with all applicable federal, state, and county regulations, standards, permits, and engineering requirements. Developers are encouraged to coordinate with Hill County Public Works Department, emergency management personnel, floodplain administrators, and other applicable county officials prior to the commencement of development activities. Hill County shall continue to enforce all applicable statutory authority relating to county roadway protection, drainage and stormwater management, over the natural water flow protection, floodplain management, access permitting, road use and roadway damage mitigation, plating and subdivision review where applicable under Texas law, emergency access and public safety coordination, and any other authority lawfully granted to the county under the Constitution and laws of the state of Texas. The Commissioners Court directs county staff to coordinate with applicable state and regional agencies, including the Texas Department of Transportation, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, regional utility providers, emergency services entities, and floodplain management authorities as appropriate. Nothing in this resolution shall be construed as prohibiting lawful development, nor shall this resolution be interpreted as creating regulations beyond the authority granted to counties under Texas law. And I'll leave this with you and thank you for your time.
Thanks. Rita Bevins.
My name's Rita Beving. I'm the North Texas representative for Public Citizen, a nonpartisan nonprofit organization. And we are working with lots of communities on the data center problem. I specifically work in Hood County, where there's 9 data centers proposed all at once, more than 9,000 acres. So if this court would like to discuss some of the tactics that some of the real estate speculators to the large companies like Amazon are employing on county commissioners, I'm more than willing to sit down with you. We're also willing to provide background information and studies that we've been gathering over our 9 months of working on data centers. We applaud the moratorium that Hill County has done. It's the first county that we found to pass a moratorium on data centers in the state. There are approximately 20 other counties that have passed resolutions on data centers. The Republican Executive Committee of the state passed a resolution on February 26th asking for more regulation of data centers. There's a resolution to be presented at the Democratic Convention in June asking for a moratorium for the state to conduct on data centers. I'll also mention there are 5 interim hearings, or 5 charges rather, with 5 committees at the Capitol on data centers, including Business and Commerce is looking at the management of data centers. Water, Ag, and Rural Affairs, chaired by Senator Perry, has a hearing on September 1st on the water use. Finance, on July 27th, they're looking at the sales tax exemptions given to data centers. Chairman Cody Harris in Natural Resources on the House side is looking at water use, and State Affairs has already had 2 hearings under Ken King, Representative Ken King. I want to mention a cautionary tale on these data centers. One of the largest data centers a year ago, Fermi America up in Amarillo, almost 5,000 acres, is already in a class action lawsuit for allegedly misleading investors in a limited IPO that was offered last fall. There is no construction going on in Amarillo right now because at the end of April, the CEO was fired of that project, which was co-founded by former Governor Perry, and the CFO walked within 24 hours. Let's talk about the Rellis project in Bryan, Texas. It went bankrupt in its first year of construction, leaving bankers, Texas A&M, and the contractors on the hook for that project. Since then, yes, another data center developer has picked that up. Lastly, let's talk about a $6.7 million renovation in Fort Worth. That company, that data center went bankrupt within 5 years. I've seen a lot of real estate speculators, and I've seen a lot of foreign companies enter into this equation from Dubai, from China, wanting to build these data centers in various counties. So it's not the only county I work in. So I just want to applaud this Commissioner's Court for taking the brave step of doing a moratorium. There are a lot of groups outside this county that support you. We do have members in this county, but we also are here to try and offer you resources and more background information. And I hope the moratorium will stand. I know it's a difficult decision. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Peter Ellis.
Good morning. I'll make it short. Yeah, a lot of people hear us across the world. I asked my dad to hear about us, so she pretty much said something to me, what's kind of shaked me. She said, you guys are the new Alamo in Texas, because you guys started something what a lot of people noticed it's a good thing. I applaud you for it, and I appreciate what you guys did, moratorium. I live not even less than a quarter of a mile from the so-called new data center that's coming in Hill County, Ellis County, 166. That road, it's garbage. That thing already falls apart. We have a lot of issues out there. A lot of trucks, more semi trucks coming out there already. Our farm roads are deteriorating, and I agree with a lot of the one man said that we need money ahead from them. And I did read on something, and I made a little bit of research the time that I have. Dee said the company that wants to build in Hill, Ellis County. Dee said he made a lot of research, did not. I didn't see anybody coming out there, made any ground measurements, made any air measurements or anything. We didn't see anybody out there, to be honest. We will lose a lot of wildlife out there. We have a lot. That's a few neighbors when it's here. We don't allow hunting on our properties, so we have a lot of deers, wild birds, anything out there, and we don't want to lose them. We have a lot of farmers out there, and I support my farmers. I don't want to lose them either. That's our food on the table. I buy a lot of local food, eggs, meat, anything else. We're gonna lose them. You're gonna leave. A lot of people already said if the data center will be built, you're gonna leave. Because that poison will go in the ground. I talked to a guy, he's a big construction guy in Germany. He said, do you know about it? That water, what he gonna use, will have to have a big filtration system. And the only one that can handle that is pretty much what the county owns. And they already have enough on their hands. And it's a lot of water usage, the closed system, it's a lie. And when I do my research, I see it across the globe, it's a lie. They have to, it's like you're driving a car, you have to maintenance the cooling system in your truck. And what you're doing with the cooling system, you're dumping out, put a new one in there. It's the same with the data center. The only question I would like, why we was not told about that? Why they don't go around, hey, we want to build something like, that's what's gonna happen, that's what we're gonna build, how you feel about, that's like 3 months ago, we didn't know nothing about it. We didn't even know, we live in peace out there, it's like, hey, we love the country life, we wanna be out here, that's what we did. And all of a sudden we said, hey, we wanna put a data center here, we wanna put a data center there, why? We didn't hear anything about it for months, and all of a sudden popping up everywhere. It's like you're doing it on purpose, like, don't tell anybody, we just built it. And then you have to eat it. I don't wanna smell it, I don't wanna hear it, I don't wanna see it. There's enough wasteland in Texas they can build it, like the old fields where you cannot even farm anymore. Build them on there. That ground, it's already poisoned. So why don't put it out there? And if you say a house cannot be closer than, I don't know what's the limit is, to a data center, that's families living on 66 along 66. They cannot speak up and they will not speak up because they don't get political involved, because that's how we are. I can speak up. I will speak for them. I don't want a data center in my backyard. I gotta lose my value on my house, on my property. So other people will have well. And guess what? There will be money out of your pockets, out of Hill County pockets, because some of them will leave. They will sell the property, take the loss and leave. The data center will not pay the taxes for you guys. They will not. You will give them a tax break, and who's paying for it? We are. I'm not willing to do that. I'm gonna move somewhere else if I have to. I have all my finance in this property, but if it gets to a point, we get this monster in my backyard, I gotta leave. And so will others. You're gonna lose that money. Arkansas looks pretty promising right now. I'm pretty honest. I support my farmers. Everyone, he needs my help. I'll come out there. I don't even charge for it. I want my farmers next door. I don't want a data center next door. I want fresh air. I want a cow patty smelling to come to my, what? I don't have a problem with farmers. I have a problem with data center. Do we need them? Okay. Then put them there where it doesn't harm anybody. Put it on the land we already destroyed in the first place. We have enough out there.
Thank you, sir. Glenn McElroy.
Good morning. I'd just like to say thank you for the moratorium. But I also like to say that my family's roots run to the beginning of the Republic of Texas. We're Texans. We're fighters.
Right.
All these people here say they stand behind you. I don't stand behind you. I stand beside each and every one of you. I will take the fodder like you guys will take the fodder. You're our voice. You're all we have. No matter what any of us say, when it comes down to it, you're our voice. We, the people, elected you to be our voice. As everybody said, I've been a surveyor for almost 40 years. You guys in the county need to have your checklist done. I've been to county commission meetings, I've been to city meetings for surveying. You start with the survey, engineering, the list goes down. Environmental, wetlands, everybody thinks wetlands. Well, if the ground's wet, it's wetlands. No, sir. You know what a wetland is? It's the grasses. I've been in Utah on top of a mountain with 50 acres of wetlands and not a stitch of water around. Because it's the grass, it's the wildlife, it's the birds. We have birds in Austin that you can't even touch the land because they nest there. It's an endangered species. What's out there? Do you have that information? Do you know how much water they're gonna take, how much power they're gonna take? Those are the questions you guys need to push on them. In this moratorium, hold on to it. If it takes 5 years, it takes 5 years. If they want to sue you guys for $100 million because of their due diligence, well, guess what? Every developer in every state, every county in this country has to do their due diligence. That's why we have the EPA. That's why we have FEMA. That's why we have all these agencies in place, is to protect food. We the people, not them. It's time for us to stand up. We're here standing up for you guys and with you guys. And like I said, we'll stand beside you, not behind you, but we'll come in front of you if we need to. They got to steamroll through us, then steamroll through us. And I will say this, no tax breaks. Tax that property at $1 billion property tax. They want to build, you bet $1 billion, then relieve all of us of our property tax. Say, hey, if you want to build, here it is. We have roads you got to maintain and build. Has TxDOT sent any plans of ingress, egress out there? Have you seen any of that? No. I know they're building windmills. Did they send any plans in on their ingress, egress on the county roads, the impact of the county roads? And remember, as a surveyor, remember this. We, the people, the property owners, own to the middle of that road. The county has the right of way to come in and maintain the road. The city has it for the water lines, sewer lines, power lines. They have the right of way. They don't own the land. The landowner owns that land. If it goes away, the landowner takes it back. The only one we can't take it from is the railroad, because the railroad owns the land. They bought it when they come here. So stand up for us. Tell them if they want to build here, it's $1 billion to tax you on your property taxes. If you don't like it, pick it up and send it off somewhere else. Hood County's fighting it. ERAS fighting it because they want to bring a power line. Have y'all seen the power line transmission lines they want to run that are towers are 200 feet tall with one power line on it? And they want to put 7 or 8 of those lines running all over to carry power for these data centers that we don't even have. ERCOT goes down if flake of snow, boom, we're out of power. Well, what are we going to do in the summertime when they say, well, we need more power? Well, we'll have running blackouts on the people in Hill County because it's July and it's 110 degrees, but you can't have your air conditioner on it, dude, because they need power. Is that for us? No, that's for them. Stand up, fight. Let them bring the lawsuit. Fight them on the lawsuit. Say it's your due diligence. You're supposed to do it. It ain't up to us. You're supposed to have those rules in place. Fight for us. Please stand up. Fight for us and let us be the community that we are. Keep Hillsborough growing, yes, but at a rate that's comparable to who we are. Okay? And once again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for what you're doing, for standing up for us, for having these meetings. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Harold Jurgen.
Hi. Thank you again. Yes, I just wanted to come and support the moratorium in and of itself and what you did before. There was very good reasons for you to do that. But also, I think we need to think about like the impact, what you guys might do here in terms of studies and doing due diligence could be used by other counties to like take a look at what you guys have done here. You know, they're already doing that based on what some other folks have said here. But there's, again, I come back to the things that I said before. This feels like an invasion to people. And we're being bulldozed. So the things that you might do here could very well be used to say, look, Hill County's doing this because of one data center, 2 data centers, 3 data centers, 4 that we're aware of at this point in this county that are proposed. But this information could be used for how many are there being put in this state right now? A lot. So like, let's look at this micro area and get the thing done properly in this micro area to help our neighboring counties as well. Because again, it's just like, take what's happening here, the statistics and the data that's coming out of this, and let's multiply that by what's happening in our states. You know, so that's another way to kind of look at and possibly, support this. I have had a couple people kind of come out of the woodworks and reach out to me. There are folks who work in some of these industries, engineers, people who work with our county and our state that are like, I don't know if I can come out and really talk publicly, but I'm really concerned about what's happening. Of course, their jobs, if they come out, it's possible they're like concerned about their jobs, basically. So, but on a personal level, they are very concerned about what's happening. And I know there are people out there that can help you. I don't understand the complete reasoning behind not wanting to get ourselves educated, through people who are experts at this. So there are engineers, there are industrial hygienists, there are environmental health people who can help get our hands wrapped around this whole thing that's happening to us, basically. And I agree with Tim. I think I've already told you what's happened with this one data center in the past with their oil and gas area. I'm concerned again that that's going to happen here. We have a lot of folks that own land around these tributaries and Chambers Creek. And a lot of this land is in floodplain. A lot of our ranch land is in floodplain, and it can only be used for ranch land because it's in the floodplain. So, that impacts a lot of us. So what happens, when we don't do our due diligence, we don't look at how the impact of just paving over large 2,800 acres of land. What's the impact of that? What happens when we get a huge rainstorm and now we're going beyond our 100-year floodplains? Now you're impacting like people's homes and not just ranch land. I mean, anyway, there's just a lot of things to consider here, and I really appreciate the effort that y'all are putting into this and are about to put into this. And just want to reiterate as well, you have Hill County residents behind you, absolutely 100%. We will do what we need to do to stand up for you, behind you. I mean, financially, I've even had that thought. If there's an issue that we need more money for, let's do some fundraising. So anyway, I just appreciate your time and thank you very much.
Thank you. Amy Teal?
All right, hi guys, Amy Teal, I'm here in Whitney, Texas. First, it has come to my attention that our elections administrator, Ada Motherspaugh, denied entry two duly appointed state certified poll watchers to observe the early voting ballot board meeting this past Tuesday. Please pursue immediate training in that regard. I'd like to avoid another Athens, Texas scenario. On to the agenda. Item 1, I expect my precinct chair, Daniel Wilson, will weigh in with more details objecting to this, but I will urge y'all to table this, take no action, or explicitly direct the ESD1 to go back, post a legally proper notice, hold a lawful meeting, and vote on a formal request. When I first spoke against the Hubbard Data Center abatement issue earlier this year, it was based on the high taxes that residents are already paying and the lack of transparency that Nexus demonstrated when they explicitly prohibited recording of their town hall last November. Transparency is huge. Even when people's calls for agenda item transparency are inconvenient and frustrating, it is necessary to secure a legally binding meeting whose actions can't be challenged on technicalities. These calls protect y'all as well as the taxpayers. I think there are several folks who appreciate the court's tabling of items 3, 4, and 5, and I hope you can get ESP1 straightened out too. They're wasting a ton of taxpayer resources in not doing this properly. On to 3 and 4. In listening to the people in Hill County, I think it is pretty obvious that folks want y'all to push this to a judicial opinion. With all due respect to the attorneys in the room, it will be judicial opinion that weighs most heavily in how state ledge critters craft legislation this next session. Maybe it will help spur a special session too. If there is anyone in Texas or anywhere else who wants to see this lawsuit pursued in court, please call the county judge and ask where to send a donation to pay for it. This year is America 250, celebrating the Declaration of Independence. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is the most subjective, but it is still included, not just once, but 2 more times. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, happiness, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing the powers in such a form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Our state constitution echoes that subjective reasoning. Article 1, Section 2, inherent political power, Republican form of government. All political power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. The faith of the people of Texas stands pledged to the preservation of a Republican form of government, and subject to this limitation only, they have at all times the inalienable right to alter, reform, or abolish their government in such manner as they may think expedient. I didn't write that. That was 1876. Most of my political speeches to electeds echo the historical warning of JFK. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. I urge this commissioner's court, the state of Texas, every elected official, data center, developer, power company, and all the people of the world to find a solution that will minimize that latter option without turning into a Ruby Ridge or Waco scenario. The federal government is already warning about terroristic violence to data centers. Soapbox, ballot box, jury box, ammo box. Hill County is checking most of those boxes this year, and as an option to avoid the ammo box and further utilize the ballot box, I would like to urge y'all and all 254 counties in Texas to let the people vote. Order an election for a non-binding straw poll resolution to appear on the November 2026 ballot, asking the governor to call and directing ledge critters to support an immediate special session before Christmas regarding expansion of county regulatory authority in unincorporated areas regarding these types of projects. Maybe Hot Wheels will beat us to the ballot box with an earlier special session, but I doubt it. The last day to order a general election or special election on a measure is Monday, August 17th, 2026. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And for number 5, if a data center is requesting a waiver, then please include in the public agenda packet their environmental, biological, wetland, water, fiber, gas, and power generation studies. Because in this agenda item packet online, we don't have anything. And you guys are usually pretty good about including information, so I would encourage you to continue that. I think that's it for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Robbie Anderson.
Gentlemen. I wasn't prepared to talk today. I came here for the sole purpose of showing unity and to give up my time to speak to somebody that's more prepared than I am. That's it. But I had to speak. I spent my entire career loaning money for the Federal Land Bank on the most pristine farm and ranch land in this state. And now I'm as surprised as everybody in this room that we have been invaded by industry that chooses to allow us to slip into a wasteland. Every one of you know in your heart that you have not had enough information to even begin to understand the ramifications of this. I'm going to cut it short. In 1836, we had defenders in Alamo, and those guys chose to draw a line in the dirt. And when they did that, that gave us time to stand and fight and prepare for the big fight. And that's the reason this state is here today. I admire you three guys for having the courage to do what you did on this moratorium. I know you feel like the little guy, the Dutch boy sitting there with his finger in the dike trying to hold back the damn flood. But you all know we all got your backs too. And we're all prepared to step forward and put that finger in that dike. You don't want to wake up and find out that your water supply is gone, or you can't afford electricity, that your kids and your grandkids don't have a place that you put your livelihood and your fortune into to save for them. And it's time that we all step forward. Those guys at the Alamo drew that line in the dirt, and we're prepared to carry on. And we need you guys to get on board too. It's not just 3 out of 5. God damn, we need unity. This county is behind you, and the rest of the state saw what you all did. You all are just ordinary fellas. All of a sudden you're thrust into the limelight. You had to make some decisions, you knew in your heart you needed to do. And I am so grateful and so proud of you. I commend you guys. Thank you.
Rick Manning. Oh, I'm sorry. Dan Weaver.
Thank you. I've been a Hill County resident my entire life, probably 4th or 5th generation. I want to thank the 3 of you that voted for the moratorium. I encourage you to continue, and if you need to table decision on it, do so. If you need to vote against extending or excusing these companies from the moratorium, do so. But I ask you to delay. Do everything in your power to make this tough on them. You don't represent them, you represent us, and you've done a fine job in what you've done with the moratorium. To the gentlemen that have voted against the moratorium, this is your opportunity to change course. You're getting a second chance to do what's right, and I encourage you to do that. So you've heard from every one of us about the financial considerations, the environmental considerations, the quality of life considerations, what this is going to do to our county if these centers go in place. All of that is true. So I encourage you to use whatever means necessary, whatever means you have to continue to fight these data centers. The same goes for battery plants, windmills, solar farms, all of this. The people that you represent here in Hill County do not need those things. They're for other people. Let them build them in their backyards. I appreciate you listening to me and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Philip Delia?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I've been in Hill County my whole life. My family's been in Hill County their entire lives for generations. Anyway, I appreciate what y'all did. Y'all didn't vote. I understand your position. You wanted to do it right. Here we are faced with doing it right, you know? Past this concerned that it wasn't gonna hold water. That was your biggest concern. Fair enough. But now here we are with it in place. So your concerns are no longer valid. It's here. We're wanting to waive what we already did. I know that a lot of people here in this county, in this courtroom, were extremely happy with you gentlemen. I was as well. I was very proud. The entire state was proud of what we did here in Hill County. The nation was proud of what we did here in Hill County. There's been rumor going around that this moratorium is not worth the paper it's written on. I'm gonna tell you right now, that $100 million lawsuit says otherwise. If it wasn't worth what it was written on, they wouldn't be suing you. Have not been in the industry as long as Mr. Lawrence, but I've been in the industry a long time. And these big companies, they're not gonna sue you if it's not worth it. If it wasn't worth the paper it was written on, they'd move forward with doing it and ignore everything that was said here. They wouldn't care. But you've got them running scared of this moratorium. Now they're trying to scare you by trying to sue y'all. Anybody can sue anybody, and Mr. Holmes will tell you that. It doesn't mean every one of them is valid. This is a scare tactic for each and every one of y'all to back off of the restrictions that y'all are trying to place. Y'all have no idea the ramifications of what we're facing as a county, as a state, as a nation with these data centers. How can you look at a waiver 2 weeks into something that you called for research on? Research does not happen on a high school research paper in 2 weeks, let alone something that affects families that have been here for generations. This waiver needs to be tabled and discussed. They're not going to come in and file a lawsuit on you and just move forward. You are here to hold what you had said you were going to hold for us. You are our voice. Everybody here is supporting you. The entire county is supporting you. With that said, my biggest concern is the water. The money, yeah, everybody's concerned about that. That's always the thing. We can live without money. We can live without electricity. Everybody found a way to do it. You can't live without water. That is my absolute biggest concern. There's been good neighbor talks on these data centers. It's just simply not true. Trying to scare us into giving up what we've already passed. That's not being a good neighbor. That's someone looking into their own interests and not looking into our interests. Y'all are neighbors of ours. We're neighbors of y'all. These new neighbors are coming in and they should hold the line for who's here, not implement their will on what has already been established. That's all I have to say. Take it into consideration for you, your kids, and your family. You know, I know that I teach my kids to stand up for what's right, not to roll over when things get tough. I'm pretty sure that that's the general consensus of most of the people here. We have passed this and these people are asking us, scaring us to roll over. I will never tell my kids, just roll over when it gets tough. I will continue to tell them to stand up and you fight for what is right. This is what is wrong, and our waiver needs to go, their waiver needs to go away. Stand up for what is right. Your constituents, your people, the people who put you here, stand up for them. We can't do it for ourselves. The only way that we can is like the showman said, is you draw a line and you fight for it. Nobody here wants that. You are our line of defense. Hold that line. Thank you.
Okay, online I have Miss Diane Hill. Miss Hill, if you're online, if you can unmute the microphone for me, please.
Okay, I'm here. I thank you so much for giving me this time. Good morning to the judge and commissioners and to my caring neighbors. I'm a fifth generation Hill County resident and would fail their farming legacy if I did not fight for the land, the water, the animals, and my neighbors that they loved and called home for all those years. Proverbs advises relying on divine wisdom rather than one's own limited intellect, assumptions, or emotions. It means deferring to his nature, especially when faced with the worldly, man-created circumstances of chaos, and trusting that our Creator sees the full picture and will guide our path and make it straight before us. When we talk scorched earth, these artificial data centers are exactly what we're referring to. They do not align with Hill County residents' will, our nature, or our sensibilities. We already have seen solar panels replace crops and herds, and now we stand to lose much more. The very nature of who we as Texans have always been, have always stood for, and fought to maintain: God, family, and our country. We can grow our economy, but with ways that honor our history and our people today and for generations to come. Haste will make waste of our land, our water, our people, and our culture, and worst of all, our future. I thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. All right, I have Mr. Zangari. It was made aware that Miss Maybeth Phillips has conceded her time to Mr. Zangari, and Aaron Torres has conceded his time to Mr. Zangari. Mr. Zangari, if you're on, could you unmute your microphone and go
Here,
ahead?
Judge, I had to turn my speakers down. I can't hear you, but I can see the chat. And I've got a prepared statement that I'm put together at the beginning of this after I found out that item 3, 4, and 5 were being tabled. So I'm going to go ahead and read from that. And when I'm done, that'll be it. I'll give you a quick thank you to let you know I'm done since my speakers are turned down.
Sounds good, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, Judge Brassel and Commissioners Court. First, I want to thank this court for tabling agenda items 3, 4, and 5. After the public concerns were raised, after my Facebook post, after the emails, my text messages, phone calls, and after the news coverage about the Open Meetings Act concerns, I believe tabling those items was the correct legal decision. So I will give credit where credit is due. Thank you for not moving forward today on items that were not properly posted with enough detail for the public to understand what was actually being discussed. But let's also be honest about why we are here. This did not happen because the county suddenly decided to be transparent on its own. This happened because myself and citizens used the law, open forum, emails, phone calls, public pressure, media attention, and the Texas Open Meetings Act to force this issue into daylight. I may not have an actual law degree, but it seems like I'm protecting this county from legal exposure more than the county attorney David Holmes is right now. And that should concern every taxpayer in Hill County. The problem with items 3, 4, and 5 was simple. Item 3 only said pending or contemplated litigation. That does not tell the public what litigation, what subject, what project, what developer, what property, or what public issue is being discussed. Item 4 said the court should come back and take any action needed after executive session. Any action on what? Again, that leaves the public guessing what action might be taken after a closed door meeting. Item 5 referenced a waiver of the county's data center moratorium, but it did not identify who requested the waiver, what project is involved, what location it affected, or what impact it may have on citizens of Hill County. Now, that the lawsuit involving the data center moratorium has been made public. There is even less reason to hide behind vague language. If this is about the moratorium lawsuit, say that. If this is about a specific data center waiver, say who requested it. If this affects land, water, power, roads, emergency services, or taxpayers, then the public deserves to know before the meeting, not after decisions have already been shaped behind closed doors. Texas Government Code Section 551.041 requires notice of the date, hour, place, and subject of the meeting. The Texas Supreme Court in Cox Enterprises versus Austin ISD in 1986 made it clear that vague labels like litigation are not enough when they fail to disclose the actual subject matter being discussed. The Attorney General has also made clear that simply citing an executive session statute does not erase the duty to properly notify the public. Judge Brassel, I saw you taking credit for doing the right thing and being transparent on Channel 25. But let's be clear, me calling this court out, using the law, putting you on notice, and warning about criminal complaints, litigations, and complaints to the Attorney General is not transparency. That is accountability. There is a difference. Transparency is when government officials voluntarily give that public the information they are entitled to before they are forced to do it. Integrity is doing the right thing even when nobody is watching. John Adams, since Amy Teal over there quoted, I'm going to quote John Adams, once warned that public virtue is the only foundation of republics. That means government only works when public officials put duty, honesty, and the people above convenience, politics, personal interest, and backroom deals. So I do not know if this is political theater, grandstanding, or damage control after getting called out publicly. But the people of Hill County deserve better than that. You need to have integrity and do the right thing without me having to watchdog this court, call you out, blast it on Facebook, email officials, make phone calls, and put everyone on notice before the law finally gets followed. Respectively, Judge, give credit where credit is due instead of showboating for the mainstream media like this was some voluntary act of openness. Citizens forced this issue because the agenda was vague, the law was clear, and the public had every right to demand better. And since we are talking about transparency, I want to ask this directly. Judge Brassel, you and County Attorney David Holm both have ties to the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation Board. So the citizens deserve to know what role, if any, has the county had in discussions involving large-scale data center development in or around Hillsborough? Can you tell the people on the record whether you knew about Project Dispatch? Can you tell the people whether Project Dispatch has been identified or discussed as a Provident-related data center project involving a joint effort with the City of Hillsborough, City Manager Megan Henderson, Mayor Scott Johnson, and EDC Jessica True? Can you tell the people whether this Commissioner's Court, the County Attorney's Office, the Hillsborough EDC, or any county officials had knowledge of or communications about a potential 1,000-acre plus data center before the public was fully informed? And can you explain why Jessica True keeps appearing at these county meetings when the items being discussed may affect data center projects connected to Hillsborough, the EDC, or development issues? I'm also asking about Gwen Orr and Natasha Sawyer. Based on the public records I posted and exposed on Facebook, there appear to be serious questions about whether Gwen Orr and Natasha Sawyer are greatly benefiting from the Provident-related deal. If the records show land transaction, ownership interest, development connections, or financial benefit tied to this project, then the people deserve answers in open session. Who benefits? Who knew? Who had inside information? Who was involved before the public knew what was happening? Were any public officials, EDC board members, connected insiders, landowners, or politically connected individuals positioned to profit from a deal that the citizens were not fully told about? If there is nothing to hide, then say it in open session. If Project Dispatch is not connected to Provident or a data center project, say that. If Gwen Orr and Natasha Sawyer are not financially benefiting from the Provident deal, say that. If the county had no role, say that. If David Holmes, Judge Brassel, the Hillsborough EDC, Megan Henderson, Scott Johnson, Jessica True, Natasha Sawyer, Gwen Orr, or anyone else had knowledge of these discussions, just say that. But stop hiding behind vague agendas, executive session language, and carefully worded public statements while the citizens are left to piece everything together through records requests and public pressure. Stop backdooring the people. Be transparent. Put the facts on the record. Let the citizens see who knew what, when they knew it, and what role each public official, public entity, board member, developer, landowner, or connected insider played in these data center discussions. And let me say this clearly for every citizen in the room. You do not need to thank this court for allowing you to speak. Speaking to your government is your right. The First Amendment protects the citizens to speak, petition their government, criticize public officials, and raise concerns about public business. These are elected officials. You voted them to represent you. They work for you. They should be listening to you. They should be hearing your concerns. They should be discussing your concerns in public. And frankly, they should be thanking you for giving them the opportunity to serve as your elected officials and public servants. I also want to say this to the citizens in the room. If you find my speech offensive, uncomfortable, blunt, or hard to hear, I do apologize for offending you personally. but I do not apologize for speaking the truth. This is protected speech. Calling out transparency issues is protected speech. Demanding accountability from elected officials is protected speech. Criticizing public officials, questioning government action, and exposing what appears to be backroom dealing is protected speech. Sometimes accountability is uncomfortable. Sometimes truth is uncomfortable. Sometimes public corruption, conflicts of interest, bad agendas, and government secrecy need to be called out in a way that gets people's attention. I have integrity. I am accountable for my own actions. I stand behind what I say. I stand behind the records I post, and I stand behind the citizens' right to know what their government is doing. The citizen is not beneath this court. The citizen is the highest ranking official in this courtroom, not the county judge, not the commissioners, not the county attorney, not developers, not consultants, not public officials making backroom deals. The citizen. They answer to us. They do not answer to developers. They do not answer to outside money. They do not answer to political insiders. They answer to the people of Hill County. And yes, I see it. It must be casual Friday with the attire up here today, but the law is not casual. The Open Meetings Act is not casual. Public notice is not casual. Transparency is not casual. The citizens' right to know what their government is doing is not casual. This court belongs to the people of Hill County. It does not belong to developers, attorneys, backroom negotiations, or political spin for the evening news. It belongs to the citizens. So my request moving forward is simple. Repost these items properly. Identify the subject, identify the waiver request, identify the project or location if a project or location is involved. And if the matter can be discussed in open session, discuss it in open session. I also strongly recommend that when this court is dealing with major public issues like items 3, 4, and 5, lawsuits, data center moratoriums, waiver requests, development impacts, water, power, roads, emergency services, and taxpayer consequences, these meetings need to be held after 5 p.m. Working citizens should not have to choose between keeping their jobs and participating in their government. These are not minor routine items. These are major public interest matters that could affect landowners, families, farmers, taxpayers, emergency services, infrastructure, and the future of Hill County. Holding these discussions at 8:30 in the morning limits public participation, whether intentional or not. If the county truly wants transparency, then make it easier for the public to attend. Hold major controversial matters after 5 p.m. Give citizens a real opportunity to show up, hear the discussion, speak during public comment, and hold their elected officials accountable. Because when these meetings are scheduled during normal working hours, most citizens are already at work. Parents are getting kids to school. Business owners are opening up. Farmers and ranchers are already working. Regular people are locked out by the clock before the meeting even starts. That may be convenient for government officials, attorneys, consultants, and developers, but it is not convenient for the people who actually live with the consequences. And let's talk about this federal lawsuit for a second. Everybody keeps acting like federal court is the big scary monster in the room. But in my opinion, that is being used as a smokescreen. Federal lawsuits can take years to work through. Meanwhile, the citizens still need protection right now. This court can still act. You can always rescind the current moratorium, address the lawsuit, and then impose a revised, properly written, legally stronger moratorium that will actually stick, just like other counties have tried to do, including examples like Van Zandt County. The point is simple. Fix it. Do it correctly. Do not use the lawsuit as an excuse to freeze up, hide behind lawyers, or give developers a free pass while the citizens are left exposed. And let's be honest, part of the reason this is happening is because the moratorium was revised and handled by non-lawyers sitting on this commission, and now the county is dealing with the consequences. That is why proper legal drafting, proper public notice, proper public discussion, and proper citizen input matters. So let's fix this together. Do not work against the citizens of Hill County. Work with us. Use open meetings. Use proper agendas. Bring in real legal review. Look at what other counties have done. Put a revised moratorium on the table that protects Hill County, protects landowner, protects waters, protects infrastructure, and protects taxpayers. I told you before, you can work with me and the citizens, or you can work against me and the citizens. But understand this, the citizens outnumber every person sitting on this court. We outnumber the developers. We outnumber the insiders. We outnumber the people making these decisions behind closed doors. And at the end of the day, elected officials serve at the permission of the voters. If you refuse to listen, refuse to be transparent, refuse to follow the law, and refuse to represent the people who put you in those seats, then citizens can also vote you out. That is not a threat. That is a democracy. Thank you for tabling items 3, 4, and 5 today. Now, please finish the job, repost them correctly, follow the law, move major public interest items to after 5 p.m., and let the people of Hill County see exactly what is going on. We, the people and the citizens of Hill County, are watching, and we expect this court to follow in the law of the daylight, in the open, at a time when people can actually attend. And as I always say, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turnbull. We have online Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, if you'll unmute your microphone, state your name and go ahead and get started.
Morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Daniel Wilson, speaking on item 1, the request for a 30-day audit extension for the Hill County ESD number 1. I want to begin with one question that determines everything that happens here today. Did the ESD board ever vote in a posted public meeting to apply for this extension? Under Texas Health and Safety Code 775, this court may grant an extension only if the district, underlying district, applies for one. And under Texas law, a political subdivision can only act through its governing board in open session with action reflected in the minutes. I reviewed every agenda and every set of minutes from January 2024 through May of 2026. There is no vote, no motion, no delegation of authority, and no agenda item authorizing anyone to request this extension. Without that vote, the district did not apply. And without an application, this court has no legal authority to act. So before anything else, I respectfully ask the court to identify one simple fact. On what date and what public meeting did the ESD board vote to authorize this request? If such a vote exists, it should be easy to point to in the minutes. If it does not exist, then this item cannot legally move forward. The timing also matters. The board just met on May 21st and did not place the audit or an extension on their agenda. The very next day, the president emailed the court asking for an extension. That sequence shows this was not an emergency. It was a foreseeable issue the board chose not to address publicly. And this is part of a larger pattern. Other districts, including Hill County ESD 2, handle audits transparently, post agendas, open session discussion, and recorded votes. ESD 1 has not placed its audit on an agenda, has not approved it in an open session, and has not taken the basic public steps required for financial oversight. There is also no public record of the board voting to engage the CPA, whose delay is now being cited. That is a fundamental governance step, and its absence fits the same pattern. The clerk has confirmed that the last 3 audits for ESD 1 were filed on June 28, 2022, June 27, 2023, and August 20th, 2024. The district has not met the June 1 deadline in any of the last 3 years. Earlier this year, the president argued that the deadline was met if the auditor signed the report before June 1. That interpretation was incorrect then, and it's incorrect now. Chapter 775 requires the audit to be filed by June 1st. There is also no open session approval of the FY24 audit. The May 15, 2025 agenda for ESD 1 lists an executive session to review last year's audit with CPA. That is not permitted under the Texas Open Meetings Act. There is no exception allowing a board to privately review a routine financial audit. Under 551, any action taken in an executive session is void unless later adopted in open session, and that never happened. As a result, the FY24 audit remains legally incomplete. If the FY24 audit was never legally completed, Chapter 775 may raise questions about whether statutory vacancies were triggered for the president and treasurer. That is a matter for this court and its counsel. But one thing is clear, a lack of planning on the district's part does not create an emergency for your court. There is no emergency here. Even without an extension, the statute provides nearly 3 months before any mandatory procedures begin on 1 September. The extension is not needed to protect the public, only to avoid a 4th consecutive late audit. This is an appointed board. They do not answer to us, the voters. They answer to this court in transparency matters, especially when a district is preparing to ask the public for expanded taxing authority. I'm not asking the court to manage district operations. I'm asking the court to carry out oversight responsibilities that Chapter 775 assigns specifically to you. Because this item is on today's agenda, the court must determine whether the district actually applied for an extension through a lawful vote. That is not operational, it's a threshold legal requirement. Given that the request sent to the court blames the CPA, and given the procedural issues I've outlined, I respectfully ask the court to direct the county auditor to verify with the CPA whether those statements are accurate. That is not operational, it's a factual determination necessary to establish whether a valid request exists. If the district truly authorized this request, the record will show it. If the record does not show it, the court should not act on it. I
Mr. Wilson.
respectfully urge the court to table this item or take no action until the district returns with a properly posted meeting and a lawful vote. That
Mr.
is not
Wilson.
obstruction, that is transparent government. And Judge, Commissioners, as this court moves toward
Yeah.
greater transparency and accountability in its own
Mr.
actions.
Wilson, I get it. Yeah. Your time is up.
Okay, just real quick.
Well, your time's up, Mr. Wilson. It was up about 20 seconds ago.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Miss Grace Hernandez online?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, go ahead, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time, and I'm gonna be very brief. I'm not gonna take too much time. I want to say thank you for being the first county in Texas to pass a moratorium that is right now greatly needed. My house right now is about 500 yards from the Maypro data center, so basically right across the street. Me and my neighbors are going to be greatly affected by the center. My home value will basically go down between $150,000 to $200,000. And my question is, who's going to cover that? Are they going to pay us close by residents for the loss of the valuation of our homes? If we ever have to move due to, circumstances that we can happen in our lives, who will want to buy a home right next to a data center? So they're in a way forcing us to stay here permanently, even if any circumstances happens that we might have to even move. It bothers me that I bought this almost $900,000 home and it's not even going to be worth even $700,000 because the data center is going to be built right next door and devalue our hard work money that we work so hard to be able to afford a home like this. We need protection from this, and we also need our main protections, the negative environmental effect that they will cause to our area. I have 3 small boys from the age of 4 to 9 years old, and I really do not want them to be the next guinea pigs showing up on the news on how data centers affect children and their growth, etc. I really want our family to be in an area that we feel safe, we feel the fresh air and not be breathing in contaminated air from a data center right next door. So please, I pray and I ask that you keep this moratorium enforced and not to give in to big corporations that they only care about money and no one else. If they would really care about us citizens, they would have made meetings, they would have helped out on, the research, and they're not. They're actually suing. So they're not really caring about us. They're just caring about how much money they're putting in their pockets. And thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. And last one I have is a Jacob Hornsnell online. Mr. Hornsnell, if you're online, you could unmute your microphone.
1 second. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Greetings, everybody. My name is compatriot Jacob Fornshell, and I'm a patriot ancestor of the Sons of the American Revolution, and we descendants of the heroes of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifices established the United States of America, reaffirm our faith in the principles of liberty and our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against any foe. So until we meet again, let us remember our obligations to our forefathers who gave us the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and independent Supreme Court of a nation of free men. Just want to thank you for your time, Judge.
Thank you, sir. I apologize. We had one more that I forgot of. It's Kim Wheeland.
I give my time to Tim Wyland. Judge, really super quick. Really proud of the three of you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right, the three of you that voted last, you did a great job. We're very proud of you. We are standing behind you as financially and vocally as we can support you and the county. The only thing I'm going to say, short and sweet, the two gentlemen that voted no, I understand that's their responsibility to do so. However, with the lawsuit that appears to be personal in nature against the three of you, the other two need to pay attention to the fact that if they can do it to the three of you and say, hey, look, I'm coming after you personally, then I'll come after the other two. The five of you need to stand together. The lawyer, the county lawyer, needs to definitely support the five of you. One team, one goal, to get the facts, protect the county. Whether it's making sure that the data center comes in with protection for all and being a good neighbor, or whether we stop that, that's not the issue. The issue is somebody's threatened us and our county. All five of you, plus our lawyer there in the back. We need to stand together. Fellas, protect each other. You've been sitting on the board looking at each other across the table. Say, okay, we got it. Now let's protect us. Because if they can come after the three of you, they can come after the rest of you. That's all I've got to say, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman.
Glenn McEl, I thought he spoke. Glenn McElroy?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He already spoke.
Yeah. All right. Well, then that will conclude our open forum portion of the agenda. Do we need to keep rolling, or we need a bathroom break? Bathroom break real quick.
Whatever you want.
We'll recess for 5 minutes. We'll be back at 5 minutes from now.
It's now 4:30.
We're not gonna end the live stream. IT, just keep the live stream going. That way nobody has to come back in. Real quick.
Yeah, paper clip, so I know it's gotta be this one, and I think that one. I think those are the two that he left.
Yes. All right.
What's the rest on the agenda? I forgot to pull it up this time to read it. Okay. Right, okay. Because I had to get to Waco and go pick up some. Oh, okay. Thank y'all for finding it. It's tough when they come out. I've had them come out for me.
It's not over yet.
Oh, I know.
This kind of stuff.
I know. I had a 5-year fine, so I mean. God bless you.
Can I give you my card?
Yes, please.
I would really like to talk to some of you in Commissioners Court about what's happening in other counties. Because there's a lot of underhanded tactics to watch for.
Thank you.
So if they yeah, because they were officially getting.
They slowly. All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting back to order. We're gonna go ahead and call this meeting back to order. Hill County Commissioners Court, special meeting. It's now 11:03. We're in the Hill County courtroom at this time, back from a short recess. Here, and we're gonna move on to court orders. Number 1, discuss interaction regarding granting Emergency Service District Number 1 an extension to complete the district's annual audit. Do we have anybody from ESD1 here today? Do not.
Make a motion to table.
We have a motion to table that item.
Do we need a motion?
I don't think we need a motion, but we'll go ahead and table and move that one on. The next one is item number 2. Discuss interaction on budget amendment for Hill County Sheriff's Office, Senate Bill 22 grant to reallocate funds for capital outlay. I believe Mrs. Peavy was going to speak for this. Sure, yeah, just for the microphone, mostly.
The sheriff's office was awarded $354,649 in SB 22 grant money to be utilized this year. Right now, they had originally budgeted for more criminal investigative personnel expenditures, but right now they only have one person to do that type of work out of that funding. So that leaves them approximately $270,000 remaining in the funds to be spent by the end of the fiscal year. So they're planning to use this funding for 4 new trucks for their criminal investigation department, firearms and ammunition. So that in using that, they'll be able to replace and retire old firearms. The ammunition will allow them to remain compliant with ongoing training requirements. And new trucks are always a good thing.
All right, motion approved.
Make a motion to accept the budget amendments.
I got a motion, are you second?
Second.
You got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And then as indicated prior, we are going to go ahead and table 3, 4, and 5 to have them posted in a more transparent manner. Leaves one motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.